tournament alone, one of the cleanest you've ever seen.
They have had their struggles, but as you said, Dota's about figuring out what to do in the moment, adapting, finding your strengths, remembering what made you as good a team as you were, and they have definitely remembered it here and refound a lot of their strength.
Quinn, he'll take that key. Looks like he took that mid lane away from Liquid. They will approach the trophy that they worked so hard for last year, but this year is the year of Gamin Gladiators, the absolute kings of the early game, an extremely dominant tournament throughout. And there you have it. Give it up for your champions, Gamin Gladiators.
Masters 2024 champion, Gamin Gladiators! Quinn, my man, I've heard you remark yourself as more of a hard worker than a natural talent. And I can tell that you've been putting in the hours these past few months, trying to return to the glory that was that 2023 run. Do you think that this moment is a representation of all the effort you've been putting in? I'm seeing you go up against these Huskars, these Tinies, these Sand Kings, and not breaking a sweat at all.
Yeah, I think hard work does pay off, and we put a lot of time into boot camp, into this tournament, and the time before that, going from being really bad to being good again. So I'm just glad that we were able to make that rise again.
And it is proof positive with this event. Tofu, I spoke with you just a couple of days ago where you were telling me about the trials and tribulations of maintaining consistency both within in-game and out of game. Do you feel like this is now reflecting that the effort was worth it and everything that you had gone through, the difficulties are making up for the rewards?
We had a lot of difficulties before, and I feel like we've been trying for weeks and months, honestly, and especially this last stretch, we've been putting so much time, effort, and passion into this whole project, and I'm just super proud that it paid off and we could show what we're actually capable of.
And what you're capable of is championships. And for Dyrachyo specifically, not just a championship, but a 3-0, one that you have claimed multiple times in the past. I remember during Kuala Lumpur, you thought it was going to be a 3-0, and yet you were not shaken. Once again, you show up here and you're like, it's going to be a 3-0. Are you just saying it, or do you actually have a read?
I mean, they asked me to say it, but to be honest, like I expect us to play well against Liquid because we have a really nice matchup. We also showed it like yesterday. We kind of smacked them, so today it happens again.
Which brings me to Celery. What is it about Liquid? Is it them, or was this just your tournament? It didn't matter who was going to show up in grand finals. You knew you had their number.
Yeah, it didn't matter. We were ready.
It's just that easy.
I had a dream like a week ago we were going to win, so dreams come true sometimes.
And the dream has come true. Ace, any closing thoughts for all of the Gamin Gladiators fans who have been waiting for your rise and your return to prominence and have been patiently rewarded?
Yeah, like there was some games, there was a lot of other crowd cheering for other teams, but we could always hear some gaming fans out there. So I wanted to thank you all for that. You guys are the best.
And it seems to me that the Gamin fans are here in full effect. For one last time, please, a round of applause for your champions! And business, Celery, this trophy that you're holding and the key that you have put into it, you've been walking by the totem every single morning, and it's time to immortalize you in esports World Cup history. So shall we? And join me as we make our way over.
An absolute dominating run here in the upper bracket from Gamin Gladiators. They are your Riyadh Masters 2024 champions. And I think as we saw the writing on the wall.
I mean, these guys are they're just too good. They're just better. Like, they're the ones that are setting the meta of the tournament, like what to do with the auras. And every time a team played them, it just feels like every single time that enemy team, they're just a step behind. They can't match them in the pace. They can't match them in how fast you can move around the map, what items you can do. But it's all these small things with like the team fighting that, to me, is what really sets this team apart. They do all these things that other teams don't, that just allows them to win.
Yeah, and I think when there is a patch where the auras are strong, this is when Gamin Gladiators is always at the top. No team knows how to play these, not going to say death ball, but these like high tempo, fast early game type of strategies better than them. Like, no team can even go to 40 minutes against this team. It's impossible. They just beat you before that. And I think especially for this tournament, it's a bit of a blessing in disguise that earlier they didn't do so well. They just came out this patch swinging with pretty much no data on them, of like how good they are right now. And no team has even had any time to figure it out. And Quinn, he gets to immortalize Gamin Gladiators here.
I'll just say I feel like this tournament, especially the lower bracket, was characterized by teams making uncharacteristic mistakes. And the one team that I can confidently say never did that the entire tournament, or at least the playoffs, was Gamin Gladiators. Like, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of stakes. Dota's a mental game. How many times have you guys at home or us even just like played bad in a pub or in a tournament match because we're nervous because we're having a bad day? How do you have a team like that that just never has a bad day? They're having such confidence about the meta, about their strategy, about their identity as a team. We talked about their dynamic as a unit when we interviewed Duracio. He just said, we've been together for so long, we understand each other so well. He just seems so happy with the rest of them. They're all smiley in a game that causes so many of us so much stress when we're thinking about all these moments that they could be in that mean so much at each pivotal time. A teammate makes a mistake, you have to lift them up.
Sorry, Brian. I just realized what they're doing.
Oh, are they choosing their three
They have
keys?
to choose.
It has, okay.
It has to be Liquid, right? You gotta, for one more time for the road.
Liquid, Falcons, Bibbidi Bobbidi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Quinn promised me a Bibbidi Bobbidi team if they win it all. He promised it. But how much does Quinn have to say here?
Quinn, listen up.
It's Falcons actually, for sure Liquid, just I don't know why.
I think maybe Liquid's key, is it because obviously their key was still alive until just, maybe 10 minutes ago. So maybe it's not there yet because it's
that's
crushed.
true.
But I would imagine, how arrogant would it be to just not put Liquid? Because, they get them anyway. The only team they dropped a game to in the upper bracket was Falcons.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to put Falcons. You have to put Falcons. I feel like
they made their choices.
B-Blobs and Falcons, the third one, I don't know.
Are we going to be able to tell?
We're going to be. I think we're gonna get some words in just a second. So we're gonna find out. The rest of the keys will all be dropped under the totem. They will all be encased in resin, as you've heard multiple times throughout this Riyadh Masters. This totem will be immortalized on the boulevard, and next year around there's just another totem, and this totem will forever feature Gamin Gladiators as the champion here of Dota 2. Did we see any names? I couldn't read fast enough.
Quinn, hold them in the camera.
Quinn, please.
Don't drop them, Quinn.
No, it's
Oh, he thought about it. He hears you.
Oh, he might actually hear you.
Probably
This
does.
is a good point. This is a good point.
Well, I'm waiting for the grand reveal.
We're gonna get that grand reveal with Tsunami.
Quinn, you have gathered up 3 keys. You mind sharing with me your choices?
Yes, we selected Liquid, Falcons, and Spirit.
Okay, pretty reasonable options. Let's take it with Spirit. Team Spirit, pretty understandable. Last year's champions, TI 2-time winners. Anything beyond that or just their legacy?
I mean, they crushed our dreams last year, so we get to crush a piece of metal, I guess.
The revenge for Seattle. I love to see it. How about your second choice, Falcons?
I mean, they beat everybody all year, so you got to put them in there out of respect,
And maybe somewhat trying to take away from your legacy of last year, 2023, most dominant team, 2024. You got to win Riyadh Masters, maybe. And your last one, Team Liquid. I feel like I don't even need to ask about this one, but just for the people, why'd you choose Team Liquid?
To be honest, it's just kind of funny. That's the main reason.
The man's doing it for the memes, but you are all business when it comes to the game. And in regards to that, I would like to congratulate you, as not only are you the champions of Riyadh Masters, you are the PlayStation MVP for this event. That's exactly the reaction I was hoping for. And as a result of that, you also are a winner of a $50,000 cash prize.
What on earth? I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought it was just like a PlayStation. That's pretty dope.
You can get many, many PlayStations with that. But if we could reflect on the tournament as a whole and your mid-performance, like I said on stage, you've been working really hard for your entire career as a professional player. Were there any moments during this past year where you felt like the glory that you had achieved in all of 2023 would be difficult or possibly even impossible to return to? Or did you have faith that a moment like this would happen?
I mean, I don't think I ever lost faith that it was possible for us to win. We were, we had a rough year in terms of, like, if you compare it to our prior year, but I mean, I believe in everyone on the team, and, I think we just had to figure stuff out. Dota's a game of problems and fixing problems, and I think it just took a while for us to fix those problems.
And as for the mid lane in general during this competition, how have you felt? Were you pushed to the limit? Are we returning to peak Quinn, or is peak Quinn going to show up maybe even in Copenhagen?
I think I've always got room to go. There were some games I ruined. There's that Ember game against Falcons that was not pretty. So, always room to go up.
Well, we can't wait to see the path, Quinn. Congratulations on a stellar performance, and I'll let you enjoy the moment with your team.
A well-deserved MVP. I think especially that Game 3 we witnessed, that mid-lane fear. Woo! Nisha is not going to be happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, that will keep him up for a few nights for sure, because he has played that matchup multiple times, and he was the one bullying the Sand King. This is the first time where he just got absolutely, no other way to say, he got dumpstered by Quinn mid in a matchup where he should have felt confident winning.
Yeah. It's also something that Brian was talking about before, this confidence. You can see it in that gameplay, and Quinn told me a week ago, he's like, I'm going to be in the finals. Doesn't matter what's going to happen, I'll be in the finals. And a few days ago, he's telling me, Sand King is supposed to dumpster tiny mid. Every time he walks up, you stinker him, you stun him. He showed that here in this series too. I didn't know this matchup is supposed to work this way, but when you know things that others don't, and you can play to your ability, then you get a team and a player like Quinn and Gamin Gladiators.
Yeah, there's something about this team where they have the confidence, but it doesn't feel like cockiness. They are willing to acknowledge their own mistakes. It feels like they're holding each other accountable and themselves accountable, which is super important whenever things go south. And I think that's a part of why they were able to come back this year. Like you said, rally the troops, really figure out our problems. So much of Dota is just problem after problem after problem. New metas present new problems once you figured it all out. And I think that process for them is what is going to land them here consistently, whether there's going to be down periods in their performances, but they'll always be one of the championship teams as long as this is a roster that sticks together.
Yeah, I feel like we should just quickly touch upon the gum.
Shall we reveal?
We should reveal.
Okay, so Quinn had something going where he would listen to music before games to get himself in the zone.
People knew that.
Exactly.
They saw him walking around with their headphones. He was like, don't talk. He's getting in the zone.
Right, but apparently that wore off. So the new thing, what Ace was telling him, you should chew gum. So apparently him chewing gum, opening his mouth all the time and looking like a moron is what really gets him in the zone and like gets him all pumped up. So if it makes you win a tournament, maybe I should start doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he said that if it makes me look like a madman, it's all the more power to him, because he feels like then people go up against the madman. It's only the best that you don't know what's going. Truly a character. But I will also say, scientifically proven that your brain activity increases with gum chewing, so maybe there's some science to it as well.
Man's a scientist, what can you do?
What can you do? What can you do? Gamin Gladiators, I mean, Team Liquid couldn't do anything against Gamin Gladiators. I kind of am sad that we didn't get a really competitive game, even if Gamin won 3-0. But I think it goes to show, Brian, that this team is just something else.
Yeah, let's just consider the fact that Team Liquid has been showing that they're top 3, top 2 teams in the world consistently across the last 2 years, and yet they look like a bunch of scrubs against Gamin in the finals for some reason. And that's just a crazy part about Dota, is you're only as good as you are compared to your opponent. And even if, like, outside of this series these teams are somewhat equal, Gamin has their number. It feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. I don't know if it's more Gamin's confidence or Liquid just seems completely demoralized with no faith in themselves. Every time we watch them, it gets a little bit worse. So maybe it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is very common when a team will lose against another team repetitively.
Yeah.
It's in your head, and it's very hard to get rid of that. And I don't even know if you can. It's not as bad as just you think you're going to lose at some point because you're playing against them. But the guys you're playing against feels like they can't lose against you.
Yeah.
So they're playing even better. So it's like a double whammy there where games get like this, where this matchup happens. It happens over and over again. I don't know how you combat that, but it's going to be very hard for Liquid to overcome this against Gamin Gladiators. But luckily for Gamin Gladiators, they have another potential championship team that they just have their number on.
Yep, for sure. As we get a big wave to the high camera up there from Quinn. I will also say, I mean, Gamin Gladiators, they take home $1.5 million, which is an insane amount. And yeah, they absolutely smashed Team Liquid, both in the upper bracket finals and in the grand finals just now. But coming second is still very good, and it also still nets you $800,000. So it's not like, you know, they're bad. They're just always second place, Keza.
Yeah, I mean, at least I will say for this iteration, it's still a huge improvement. Yeah. I did not see them getting second place at this tournament. I will still say that they've improved a lot and they have looked good. It's just not against this team. Like Fear is saying, when you keep losing to the same players, the same team, it's in your head. You need to win like 50 small engagements against this team, and they're just not capable. They need to improve, learn, talk about it, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is, but they will have to improve to, you know, for example, at TI. If it happens again, you better show a better game.
I definitely have a theory on these two teams. Like, these two teams, when they're both they both either are doing poorly or they're both doing well.
That's true.
And I think it comes into the fast meta. Whenever the fast metas around these teams really shine, and Gamin's just the faster team, right? And Liquid seems to be the second fastest team in the metas that do really promote this type of play style. So I don't really put a lot of blame on Liquid. Gamin are just better.
That team, I mean,
there's not much to follow that one up.
No, it really is not. I'm like, wow, that actually seems like a very good closing statement. We're not closing just yet, though. As I do also want to touch on some of the other favorite teams that we saw coming and going this Rehab Masters. The two teams that come to mind are, of course, the two other keys that Team Gamin Gladiators just now chose to have in their trophy. Because I think if you were to ask anyone at the start of Rehab Masters who was going to win this 2024 Rehab Masters, I think it would be one of these four teams, Gamin Liquid. But the two that would probably be mentioned more often, BSJ, is Falcons and Spirit.
Yeah, Falcons pulled their Gamin impression from last year, win every tournament up until now, and then get 3rd through 6th or so in the final two. So I would have to say that I wonder what's going to happen with the patch in the meta between now and TI. Is it going to remain the same? If these teams have more time to figure it out, will they be able to crack the code? As you mentioned, Team Liquid was struggling to do Fear during that series. All these teams, though, like, there's a reason they put those 3 in there. That's quite the notch to add to your belt when you consider winning this tournament.
Yeah, just put the other teams that have won championships while you are watching. Now you're finally on top, and you just throw them in your trophy. You're the king now.
You are the king now. I believe, I mean, we just watched a fairly one-sided series, but it still had some good plays to watch. And I believe we still have some plays of the day that we would like to show you. It's not just of the last game we watched, but I think there's going to be a couple that are featured in there. I think Celery's Black Hole, for example, one of them. But let's take a look at this one. This is in game number 2 of this series.
Yeah, this one was mine. I just really wanted to highlight Quinn here sitting on the sideline there. And it looks like a good initiation. You end up killing both supports there, but Quinn blinks in with the nice Requiem, kills the Sand King there as well. Duracho coming from the back line as well with Ace. I want to just highlight again, this fight looked completely over for Gamin, but that one Requiem just completely turned the tides of this fight. And they ended up chasing down every single one of those heroes afterwards and getting the reverse wipe, pretty much.
Yeah, and then there was another Kidia play of the day. BSJ, this one is yours.
Yeah, thanks for the spoil, Shees. As going to be a pretty sick positioning from Celery as he tucks himself within those trees. Not very often do you see hype black holes from a support Enigma, let alone like so early in the game he doesn't have a blink yet. Just impeccable positioning, foresight, a little bit of baiting coming out from game. And these are the type of plays I feel like happening when the dynamic that we were talking about. One team's feeling themselves, the other team gets a little bit overeager, chases after. Celery, just presence of mind, on point, seals the deal of the entire tournament.
And it was also very important timing because that happened right after a fight where we thought, if anything is gonna turn this series, it would have been the fight that happened just before that. But then Celery's like, nah.
No, but that's also the problem. Like against these teams that are the best at the moment, you need to do everything right. You make one small mistake. Quinn had like some illusion rune. He dodges the toss damage. They keep chasing sometimes, and suddenly you're on a high ground. Their celery. Oh well, I guess we lost anyway.
During the entire Riyadh Masters and during the entire Esports World Cup, there's also been player bounties happening. And for Dota 2, we had the Escape player bounty. And for this Escape player bounty, we go to a series that happened yesterday to Omar, where he was playing Rubik up against Team Falcons. Because you happen to remember this moment? We're about to watch the clip where, I mean, spoiler, Omar escapes.
I'm pretty sure I don't. Let's have a look. So, because I remembered a different one here. Let's see. Okay, my friend has Blink Force. Okay,
yeah, Blink Force uses both.
Quick on the fingers.
Crystal clones. Is that Crystal clone?
It is, and he's going to go whoop the wrong way.
Okay, nice. He drops it.
Whoop, no.
Nice. Dodging.
Dodging.
This man's the Matrix.
He's got the fancy footwork.
Yeah.
And the sick TP out.
Teleporting
Keeping in. He's going to Roche.
Teleporting in? Yeah, he's going top.
And he's out.
And he's out.
Crystal clone out of there.
That is good.
Yeah, he's out of there. And I know there was a lot of jokes made during this Riyadh Masters about because we have the PlayStation MVP, and nobody that wins the MVP wins the PlayStation. However, the Escape play does award a PlayStation. Woo! So congratulations
Let's
to
go,
Omar.
Omar.
He indeed takes home the PlayStation. I believe it's even PlayStation 5, so that is
I hope it is.
Not the PlayStation 2 that Jenkins was promising.
Not the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 5. Also, you might have seen this little box underneath me. Make sure to give any feedback you have about Riyadh Masters and the Esports World Cup. You can scan the QR code. If you zoom in, you got to put it on the big screen, zoom us in on your mobile device, and yeah, share your feedback. Do you have any feedback?
For Brian.
Yeah,
I was going to say nothing I feel comfortable sharing with Kezu here.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Back to you, Fear.
Taking it to HR.
Do you have any? Okay. Wow, that escalated very quickly. No, I mean we've had a fantastic event. It was 3 weeks filled with amazing Dota. I know our grand finals was over pretty fast, but don't let that distract you from the fact that we did have the best teams here and played the best Dota that they had in store for us. And I think we can all be pretty happy with the last 3 weeks, Kezu.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. You had the best teams coming to play. That kind of shapes the meta and lets people get better and show all their strategies so that we get a finals, which, you know, could have been better, but if one team is this much better than the rest, what can you do? Gamin are too good.
One thing I'd like to highlight was the play-in stage. We were seeing heroes like CK getting like overall first picked early on in the draft and losing every game, and we were all like, why are all these teams picking CK and losing? It got explained to you by some of these top teams, like Gamin especially. Like, they must have been getting crushed in scrims by the top teams in the world, and I think it's funny to think that the teams that weren't even here yet were still dictating the meta that we were seeing in the first week of this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of crazy good storylines at this event. PSG Quest coming into this tournament, taking out Spirit. Nobody expected that. Then going into Falcons. Falcons losing to Liquid, who Falcons won every single tournament of the year pretty much, and Liquid take them out, and then Gamin back to the top again. So a lot of good storylines. So it was a really good tournament.
It was a really good tournament. I think also a lot of the teams that we saw here that fell short early, we'll definitely hear more from them later on, because I feel like there's I feel like this is also an event that happened fairly soon after a patch where things were still not yet figured out. I say that fairly soon, it's still a month or two ago, but it's still not enough time to figure it out, and I feel like a lot of teams have started to figure it out, and they still learn so much from this that I'm sure that they're going to come back stronger in the future. This was the first 3 weeks, by the way, of the Esports World Cup. It's an event of total 8 weeks. Dota 2 might end here, but... well, actually, Counter-Strike also ends here. But coming week, there's PUBG Mobile, there's Overwatch 2, there's Mobile Legends Bang Bang for the women tournament, and there's going to be a lot more games, a whole lot more games coming over the next 5 weeks. So make sure you bookmark the right channels to keep your eye on your favorite game. There's a total of 22 games live here from Riyadh, and I'm sure that there's going to be some banger games being played. It might not be Dota 2, but it definitely will be good stuff for sure. From all of us here, thank you. But for our final words, we are going to head over to Tsunami.
For one last thing, I've been grilling all of your players, CY, but you and I have not gotten a chance to chat very much, and while normally that may not be a big deal, I know we had a lot of opportunities to chat last year. I vividly recall every single draft would end at Riyadh Masters 2023. I would see you backstage, and you would share like some thoughts about the tournament as a whole, the drafts, and this year you've been a little bit more of a recluse to me. What's up with that? Why are you hiding from me?
Oh, I don't think I'm hiding. Like, I'm by nature very introverted, so I kind of just do my thing, you know. Like, last year, I'm not sure why actually. There was just more to tell now. It's also a bit more like every day for me now. But it feels good to win. Honestly, it feels really good.
But originally, when you started coaching, it was nothing but wins. I vividly recall we would talk about you had a rare 100% success rate as a coach. And as we've all mentioned for over the past 8 months or so, the win rate became more normal. You are mortal, it seems. So you returning back to form, what has this journey for the past 8 months been like for you?
I mean, it's been very difficult. I think last year it's not like something only to do with me or anything. Like the team was a really good clique, and like we found out some good stuff that works for us. Like obviously knew the players are very good. That's why I also wanted to like work with them in any way that I could. I think for the last 8 months or whatever, it's been really rough. We've been we have come to realize that we need to put in way more hard work, and that's what we have done. And it's working out for now. Who knows if it will work out in the future? But I think the most important thing is to keep it going. And the moment that people don't want to do that anymore, I think they should do something else. So I hope that they all want to keep doing that.
So then how about for you as a coach? I see obviously for players, grind out pubs, figure out matchups, things like that. But as a coach, it's a little bit more nebulous. I know you definitely grind out pubs, but beyond that, what would you consider your responsibilities and if they've changed as the team has kind of started to suffer a little bit? Or did you stay focused with what always brought you success in the first place?
Like for this tournament, for example, I took over like drafting. Like I've been doing the drafting. This is the first tournament I just like drafted. So I did that to take some responsibility. Most to take, like I always was involved with drafting and like always been doing the prep and stuff like that. But like I felt that it took some responsibility off my players' shoulders, like in the games, and I think it worked pretty well. And I think it's also worked in terms of drafts. So that's the thing I've changed. Other than that, I do play a lot of pubs. I'm not like high rank or by any means, but like I do think it helps me stay in touch with the game and understand the hero dynamics and like what is good versus what and so on. Like so I do also put a lot of time into DOTA, demo mode, testing heroes, thinking about heroes, reading, whatever it takes, talking with the players, of course. Like there's always frustrations with yourself or other teammates. Like it's very natural also on our team. So we talk it through, and I try to be as diplomatic and like as efficient. How to put it, like pulling the team together, basically, like a facilitator. So I try to put on many hats and take as much responsibility as I can on the team, basically.
So then you taking the, as we see it in the game, the crown for who's drafting, what was the discussion like for you to finally take control of that? Was it the players coming to you, or you suggesting, hey guys, things aren't working out, maybe we need to mix things up a little bit?
It was working like fine. Like I think our draft was fine. Also, Celery was always doing it.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the event, if you remember, when it finally started to swap?
Like, I'm not sure. At just some point, I think Celery, it was nice for him to just focus on game and not think too much about it. And then Tofu took over for the last Dream League we had, and we got second place, so it wasn't like bad or anything. But then at bootcamp, like me and Ace also talked about it, that maybe I should do it just to take the burden off the shoulders. So, because you play the best when you just have to think about your hero, your game mostly, and like how it interacts and so on. So the conversation was more like I just went to Tofu with Ace and was like, I think I should draft. And then Tofu was like, you sure, bro? And I was like, yeah. And then we tried it. We just tried to see how it went, and it went fine. And then we just continued. And I can't say that's why Tofu's playing better or people are playing better. It's like, it's hard to pinpoint things, but I think it's a nice structure for us right now.
I mean, there are a million different variables in every single Dota game. The fact that you guys were willing to shift around the pieces and egos didn't get bruised. No one was like, no, man, I'm the drafter, okay? But you were very communal about it.
Yeah, no egos were bruised in that regard. I think I was also always a big part of it anyways, so it wasn't like unnatural. It's also not something new I had to learn or something like that. I basically just have to get used to having like the hero grid that I like and click the button, like, know where the heroes are and like search and all and stuff. That's it's more like like kind of down to earth thing to get used to.
Well, as someone like yourself, I'm glad that this is a moment of vindication to prove that you still have much to show the Dota community. CY, it's been an amazing run. I always love getting the chance to speak to you. I'm glad that we're able to do it again in a championship form, and I would just like you to enjoy the moment with your team. And any last words that you have for the people?
Thank you, Neil. And yeah, shout out to all the fans. Thank you for supporting us. I hope you will continue, and I hope we can continue to play well.
Much love, man. Enjoy.
Going